Hello everyone. Good afternoon. This is Krishnan on behalf of ANANTA IAS, and we'll be discussing about today's newspaper. We have collected some important news articles from the Hindu newspaper, which we're going to be discussing today. I'm just going through the news articles first. ആദ്യത്തെ ന്യൂസ് ആണ് നമ്മുടെ surrogacy ban on couples with one child. A child already, a couple already have a child, they cannot go for surrogacy. That is today's article. And what the Supreme Court has said about the review, about the ban. And this is the thing which we're going to discuss in the first. Then we have one very important article about BRICS versus SWIFT. BRICS, how BRICS is increasing its influence and how it is going to challenge the SWIFT system, which has been prevailing all over the world for quite long time with the monopoly of the payments. Now, second article, and the third article would be our India's forest, which hold the future. Holds the future. It's an editorial. It's a very important editorial. I will be discussing about these three articles. So let's start. So first, today's article we're going to discuss is Supreme Court to review surrogacy ban on couples with one child. Okay, one child. Why? How is this uh, a ban? Why is this a ban? So infertility എന്നവാക്ക് infertility എന്നവാക്ക് ആണ് ഇവിടെ important ആവുന്നത്. Because we have one act which we're gonna study. In that act, infertility word has been described as uh, which does not include the secondary infertility. Secondary infertility എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാല് ഒരു കുട്ടി ഉണ്ടായതിനു ശേഷം if they are experiencing or they are having a difficulty in conceiving a baby, then it is secondary infertility. So is fertility in secondary infertility mentioned include ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ല. That is why this ban comes upon the couples with already having one child. What does center say about it? The center is saying that there is no basic right to surrogacy. Surrogacy has a no basic right. Basic right Allah and use of another woman's body is not right. It's not at will. At will ആയിരിക്കില്ല പറ്റില്ല ഗവൺമെന്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സെൻട്രലിന്റെ what does petitioner is saying? Secondary fertility, which is emotionally taxing. And one more thing, India has no one child policy. Okay, let's dive into it. So why it is in news? Because Supreme Court to review the ban on couples with one child under Surrogacy Regulation Act. This is the act. Let's know a bit about the act. Before that, we should understand what surrogacy is. Surrogacy is a woman, other women, a surrogate woman. Okay, a surrogate woman carries and delivers a baby for another couple. Okay, that's surrogacy. So there are two types of surrogacy. There are two types of surrogacy. One is traditional surrogacy, which is not allowed in India. What is traditional surrogacy എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു surrogate mother, the surrogate mother eggs her eggs and the sperm of the male parent. Male parent. This is used in traditional. Okay, which is not allowed in India. It's banned after this act. Okay, but the other type, which is gestational surrogacy. In this, the surrogate mother only carries it. Only carries it. Okay, it only carries it. It's not using its own egg. So the couple's egg and the sperm is used for the embryo. And after that, when it becomes an embryo, it is being planted into the mother's uterus and surrogacy process starts from there. After the delivery, the child is returned to the parents. Okay, that is gestational surrogacy. So, the Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021, what is this? Okay, so Surrogacy Regulation Act 2021 regulates the use of surrogacy and provides services. Okay, it provides services. Only altruistic surrogacy is allowed in India. What this is altruistic surrogacy? So it means it is done for monetary benefits. For monetary benefits, you can't take surrogacy. Okay, apart from, there is an exception, apart from the medical expenses to be covered by the couple, for monetary benefits, surrogacy in India is pardoned. It's not allowed in India. It is illegal in India. Okay, so surrogacy regulation act of Adam, there is age criteria. Age criteria for both men and women. Okay, for man is 26 years minimum age and 55 years of age at maximum, I guess. Then women should be at least 23 and she should be 50 at max. After 50, they could be able to conceive a baby. Okay, so that is the age criteria, and there is one very important word here: only married couples. Okay, only married couples can do this thing. So there is a big concern about single parents, single men and women who wants a child. They cannot go for a surrogacy. Okay, so for whom it is prohibited? For those foreign couples. Foreign couples cannot come to India. Used to be a very big kind of a business when foreign people used to come in India and in villages or in slum areas they go and they uh, use this women as their surrogate mother and then get the baby and went on out of India. Okay, so there used to be a system like that. But now after this act, it is banned. It is prohibited for foreign couples cannot do surrogacy in India. Second thing is single men and single women. So single women single men If you are not married, you cannot legally married, you cannot go for a surrogacy. Okay. Then the problem lies here of this particular article, the problem lies here. Okay, couples which already have a biological, adopted, or surrogate child already, they already have a child. Okay, if they already have a child, they cannot go for surrogacy. But there is an exception, and that exception is the issue of all these matters. Okay, let's dive into the issue. What is that issue? There's a section in the uh, Act 42C2, okay, of the Act. Section 42C2 of the Act has a provision which said the couple who already have a child, biologically adopted or surrogate, okay, cannot opt for another surrogacy except when the child is mentally, physically challenged or suffering from a life-threatening disease or disorder. Only in this case we can be able to get one surrogate baby. Uh, Apart from that, they cannot be mentally or physically challenged or life only in that case. So, what is the government's position, center's position? What are they saying? They're saying that government supports a ban. Okay, they are supporting the ban. Why? The argument they provide is that cannot be claimed as a fundamental right. Surrogacy cannot be claimed as a fundamental right. Okay, it cannot be claimed. And another the use of another woman's womb. Okay, it involves another use of another woman's womb, and hence it cannot be availed at will. They cannot be availed at will, as we said. It cannot be availed at will. Okay, the surrogacy. Third point that they have argued is the surrogacy should be an option only after all the methods. Okay, what are the methods? Natural birth. Naturally, first natural birth and then ART, assisted reproductive technologies. For example, IVF. बोलते methods एல்லாம் उपയോഗിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം if they failed, okay, if they failed, only after that surrogacy should be conducted or they should look it as an option. Okay, so And one more point that they have put forward is that the Constitution does not recognize a right over another person's body, okay? Right over another person's body. Okay, so that is the government's arguments. Now, the petitioner's arguments. It is the advocate Mohini Priya who has uh, argued that secondary infertility it is emotionally taxing. Okay, they represented a couple facing a secondary infertility, which is difficulty in conceiving their second child, which is very common in India. Uh, Infertility is itself in itself is very common in India at this point. It is because of the change of lifestyle, maybe uh, the eating habits, the exercise habits, and all these things, lack of time in order to do any workout or anything. So, or a recent time, there's a very common thing about infertility in India, and especially after first birth, the secondary infertility is very common. Like we have seen around us itself, so many cases of secondary infertility. So it's a very difficult option to conceive a second child. So what the petitioner's argument is that is very emotionally taxing comparable to the primary and comparable to the primary fertility. It's primary fertility പോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ഇതും secondary infertility എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Like they don't have a child and they want another child is it's almost the same thing. They should be treated as the same thing. And next argument which they have put forward is that the claim that denying surrogacy in such cases violates reproductive choices of citizens. So the word reproductive choice, a person who can choose, okay, who can choose one uh, uh, that they want more child, more than one child, two child. Okay, so in that case, they have their own right of doing it. Our constitution doesn't restrict someone from having more than one child. And neither India government has a policy of having one child, like one child policy of China. We don't have any kind of a policy like that, right? So it requested the court to reinterpret the term infertility and include secondary infertility in that word also. And so that the couples who have already one child can also, if they are facing difficulty, can also go for this uh, surrogacy. Okay, course observation. Let's go to the course observation. Justice B. Nagaratna has acknowledged that the emotional tolls faced by the couple in secondary infertility has acknowledged the emotional taxing, the toll. Okay. Then mention that India does not have a one child policy. As we have mentioned earlier, that doesn't have a one child policy and banning surrogacy of one child after one child might be unreasonable. Yes, unreasonable. Okay. And it noted that the restriction aimed to prevent misuse. Okay. It is just to prevent misuse. The restriction, why? Because to prevent misuse, but why should the other who are the genuine cases will be suffering from it? So there should be a balance interest of it. Okay, so that is the first article. Is important uh, and perspective of the act, in perspective of the arguments and the court's observation. Okay, in perspective of society also is very important. Okay, so let's move on to the second article, which is BRICS versus SWIFT. Okay, so let's dive into the article. What's the context of it? Context is that BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is working to reduce dependency on Western-dominated financial system, which is particularly the SWIFT payment network. Okay, so why they want to do it? In order to get the sovereignty, financial sovereignty, and reduce exposure of the US sanctions. Okay, US sanctions is the word that we often hear with related to US. We have learned about CAPSA, right? CAPSA Act, right? So CAPSA Act applies in Russia also. Then it acts on in Iran and North Korea, right? North Korea, and any countries having a relation with or any trade or some kind of uh, diplomatic things with these things, these three countries will be facing CATSA, and in that way, India also face CATSA at some point, right? India, how would India face CATSA? When when we buy S400, that's Sudarshan Chakra, right? When we buy it, which was our protector when Operation Sindoor happened, right? Operation Sindoor, it was a protector of India, right? S400. Okay. So BRICS. So what is BRICS? Let's have a very briefly about BRICS. Okay, it's an alliance of it was an alliance of five major emerging economies: India, Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa, formed in 2009, and South Africa joined in 2010. Then its purpose. Is the purpose? Purpose is economic cooperation, development, in a more balanced global order, okay, reducing Western dominance in global finance, okay, and politics. So, annual meetings, they meet and discuss so many things like trade, finance, energy, technology, global governance, etc. Then, here is a very important thing you should know about new members of BRICS. Okay, we have new members like Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, UAE, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia just completed its joining in July 2025, completed the process. So we have now 11 members of BRICS. Okay. So SWIFT, what? Let's understand about SWIFT also in order to compare them. So SWIFT is a Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Settlement. Okay. So it's a global messaging network. Like we can compare it with India's IFSC code, right? IFSC code. What does it do? When we do an domestic transaction, we need this code, right? When we do a domestic transaction, we need this code. When we do an international transaction, we will need a SWIFT code. We need a SWIFT code. Okay. So it was founded in uh, it is used by the banks and financial institutions to send, receive information about the financial transactions in a secure and standardized, reliable way. Okay. What some key points about it? It's founded in 1973, headquartered in Belgium, and over 11,000 banks and financial institutions. So we can understand how much influence this SWIFT has over the international payment settlement system, right? So in more than 200 countries, function. What does it do? It does not transfer money itself. It transmits the payment orders, okay, messages between banks to facilitate international money transfer. Okay, this is what the uh, SWIFT system does. So currency, which currency they use? Here is the problem. The problem lies in this statement. More, Most SWIFT transactions are settled in US dollars or euros, reinforcing Western dominance in global finance. They use this currency in order to do the transactions and all. Let's go into the motive. Why is this issue arise? Why? What is the motivation? Fertilizer Summit 2014 BRICS of the BRICS marks the beginning of the uh, efforts to set up an independent financial institution, financial thing. Okay, so it started New Development Bank and Contingent Reserve Arrangement (CRA). Okay, for this financial independence and financial autonomy. So why should we go to countries of the West in order to get some money? So we can create our own credit facilities so that we reduce our reliance on the Western lenders, enhance the financial independence of this developing country. Okay. So following Western sanctions on Russia 2014 by Crimean War, okay, the invasion of Crimea, BRICS have begun exploring alternatives to the dollar-based international system and SWIFT. Okay, so what are they thinking? The de-dollarization. Okay, de-dollarization process. They are looking forward. So how are they going to do it? currency cooperation. Okay, BRICS aim to enhance cooperation through currency swap, local currency settlement, local currency direct investment, and another one more thing is that BRICS Payment Task Force they created. Okay, they created it to facilitate cross-border transaction between among these members. They are starting to do payments in their own currency, local currency. Okay, so there is one more thing which we need to learn is BRICS Cross-Border Payment Initiative, BRICS Pay. Okay, BRICS Pay is a core initiative to challenge SWIFT, and it seeks to establish a shared payment system among the BRICS countries. Among the BRICS countries, there should be one payment system. And when we are dealing with our each other's trade, നമ്മൾ അവിടുന്ന് സാധനം വാങ്ങുമ്പോഴും ഇവിടുന്ന് അങ്ങോട്ട് സാധനം വിൽക്കുമ്പോഴാണെങ്കിലും we will be dealing in our own local either on our local currency or a common currency which is not dollar, is not neither dollar not euros to bypass the SWIFT system. Okay, and reduce dependency on the Western financial infrastructure and the US dollar. US dollar financial independence കുറയ്ക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഈ ഒരു സിസ്റ്റം കൊണ്ടുവന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. Now, technological infrastructure. What technological infrastructure do we have already in order to develop such a thing for the BRICS nations? So each BRICS nation already has a system that can support such a network. Okay. First, Russia. Russia have a system of transfer of financial messages, SPFS. Okay. They have this system. Then China. China has one system, cross-border interbank payment system, and in Brazil has fixed payment system. India has our own UPI system, which we should be very proud of. A very robust system of payment interface, and it is also adopted and recognized by many countries like Bhutan, UAE, Bahrain, has also already accept the UPI system. So all these national systems will become the backbone of the proposed brick bay network. It will become okay. So we already have systems. We have to integrate it all together and make our own network in order to bypass the SIP system. Now, what is the recent development? Recent developments are that a prototype of BRICS Pay was unveiled in Moscow in 2024 October, marking a significant progress. It was a very significant progress. Okay, so what does it signify? It challenges the dollar. Okay, the dollar. The countries which are mostly using dollars, they're challenging. They're providing an alternative that the monopoly which the dollar has, the monopoly that the SWIFT system have. We have a system to bypass that, and we are not going to use it amongst us. And Russia leads the project. Okay, Russia leads the project, but other BRICS nations are at different stages of importance. India's UPI is domestically successful, but it's still gaining acceptance at the international level. We have already said about the Bahrain, we have also said the UAE, അല്ലെ എല്ലാ യു എനെ കുറിച്ച് ബഹ്റൈനെ കുറിച്ച് ഭൂട്ടാനെ കുറിച്ച് പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. Okay, they have accepted our UPI system, which is very robust system and very strong network of payment and settlement system. Okay, so the statements and goals about this BRICS system is Rio Summit Declaration reaffirms that BRICS goal to enhance cooperation in payment system and promote financial independence. They have reaffirmed this goal. Okay, so BRICS aim to reduce reliance on US dollar, increase interoperability. But this interoperability will become the first challenge to be discussed by us. Become the first challenge, interoperability. Okay, between the BRICS nation remains a major challenge. It becomes a major challenge. Interoperability. We have our own UPI system. Russia has another system. China has another system. Will it be able to interoperable amongst each other? That's one major concern about this system. The second thing is differing regulatory environments. Regulatory environments means our country has different rules, different laws and all. Some countries have strict rules. Some have little more less. They have free rule in order to uh, understand this payment settlement system. So, in this regulatory environment for countries with different systems, Russia, India, and China are all different systems, right? Here, the one party policy, here we have communist governments, and both of them are communist governments, and we have India, where we are in a democratic, mixed economy and liberal economy. So where if we will be able to adjust to that environments and bring all of them together in order to become one complete system to bypass the SIP system. That is one challenge. And technological standards. China is ahead of us. Russia is some ahead of us. India has a robust system already, but South Africa is behind. Brazil, okay, and other new BRICS countries like Ethiopia, Iran, Egypt, all of them. So there is a very difference in the technological standards between the countries, which will slow down the integration. It will be a stumbling block towards the process of integration. It will slow down. It will hamper the speed of the integrating process, and will not be able to counter the swift monopoly in soon. Then one more challenge is that the political and geographical constraints also limit the scalability of of the system of the political and geographical constraint. India and China. Okay, India and China uh, has been in not in a better relationship in terms of uh, foreign relations. We have 2020 Gulf War crash also, right? Then we ban Chinese apps. Chinese apps were banned in India, and we have many talks at military level, but no improvements have been happened. But recently, some very positive signs we have seen after the US tariff thing. But still, the geographical concern, the political concern is still a very uh, important factor which will limit the immediate scalability of the system. It will it will hamper the growth of this system. It will, okay, so that is the challenge. So, understanding shift system and the shift towards this shift system to another alternative, not necessarily it's going to be the BRICS, but the whole global world needs a shift from this system because of the monopoly of what they enjoy. Because always US, what they try to do, they put sanctions on the country. Even SWIFT, Iran and Russia are removed from the SWIFT. Okay, as per now, they have been removed from the SWIFT. They are not able to use the SWIFT. So they are isolated from the global trade, global financial system, right? So it will affect their growth. It will affect their mm, relations with other countries. With they are not able to use the SWIFT. They are unable to trade with other countries, and all those things will hamper their growth, and it will create unrest in the global geopolitics. Okay, so that is about SWIFT and BRICS pay, which is going to be BRICS, which BRICS is going to bring in. They have already announced the BRICS currency to be used. So next, third and last article of the day is India's forest hold the future. Okay, India's forest hold the future. How it is holding the future? What is this Green India mission? What is its ambition, which is to restore the 25 million hectares of degraded forest and non-forest land by 2030? We will be discussing it thoroughly. Okay, So the context, what's the context of it is India aims to balance economic growth. Okay, economic India is a place where economic growth balances with environmental sustainability. We aim to balance them. Okay, so uh, in one era, the forest is seen mainly as a source of resources. Now is seen as a climate capital. That we are gonna use it as a carbon sink. Okay, so revise Green India Mission. We used to have a Green India Mission phase one. Now we have revised Green India Mission, which put ecological restoration at heart of India's climate policy. Very important matter. Okay, they have put it that utmost important. Now, Green India Mission. What is this? Green India Mission was launched under National Action Plan on Climate Change. It was launched under the National Action Plan of on Climate Change in 2010. It was under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, and its goal, as we said earlier, is to restore 25 million hectares of degraded forest and non-forest land by 2030. Okay, the global target. Uh, why it is important? Because we have already global target. Okay, that will determine contributions, right? Paris Agreement of Paris Agreement. Okay, so by creating additional carbon sink of 3.39 billion, okay, 3.39 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, okay, 3.39 billion of carbon dioxide equivalent. Here they have mentioned it as 3.39 billion tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, okay, at the end of this decade by 2030. So forest cover, we have increased from 24.16% in 2015 to 25.17% in 2023. Okay, so what is the key finding? This is one of the key findings. Okay, this is one of the key findings. Who does the study? IIT Kharagpur. 2025, IIT Kharagpur does a study. It shows that increased tree cover and forest by 26.14% to 25.17%. But there is a problem. What is the problem? There is a 12% decline in photosynthetic efficiency of dense forest due to aging trees and drying soil. Okay, so more trees, more trees is not equivalent to efficient photosynthesis or efficient uh, photosynthetic efficiency. It's not the same. Okay, so more tree covers doesn't always mean more ecological benefits. Restoration must focus on ecological resilience and not just canopy cover. What they used to do, why this problem is being arise. So what afforestation programs used to do is that they they plant certain trees like eucalyptus and acacia in order to increase the tree cover. But the photosynthetic efficiency of these trees might be lesser than other. Okay, it will be less. One thing. Then another thing is that these trees are very much, first of all, it's alien and it's very invasive. It's very invasive. When we go to Tamil Nadu or we go to outskirts of Chennai areas, you can see these plants. It's everywhere. So that is why invasive species is called. They invade the whole area. They will uh, reduce the other plants, the areas to grow, the other plants to grow. So it will affect the photosynthetic efficiency and the usage of these plants are also very less. Okay, very less. So that is what the afforestation program used to do. So, but it hasn't been. It has only increased the tree cover, but not the quality, not the quality of the climate. Okay. So policy and implementation. New GIS blueprint. What is that? Biodiversity rich landscapes. So you focus on these areas, Aravallis, Western Ghats, Himalayan catchments, and bring in the watershed projects into it, and other afforestation programs into it, and involve the community. Okay, involve the community. People's participation is very important in such cases. Okay, for example, in Odisha, they have integrated the community, local community, and they started planting mahua tree. Okay, mahua tree, so that that makes it more better. Apart from rather than using acacia or eucalyptus, when you're using these kind of tree, they have more knowledge. The local community, the community who have been living in that area for quite some time, quite many decades or many centuries, they know more about the environment. They know more about the system. So involve them and give them their livelihood-based restoration process also. Restore, but it should be based on a livelihood. They should get a livelihood. Then they will be able to do it without hampering the process. Okay. So next is CAMPA, Compensatory Afforestation Fund Management and Planning Authority. CAMPA has already, we have a CAMPA Act, we have CAMPA Fund. So with this fund has been integrated into GIM, but it has been very less utilized. Only 23% of the fund is being used in 2019 2024. So finance, which the CAMPA is overseeing the finance of this uh, uh, pol- mission, but the utilization is always low. We have an example of Delhi, which has a very low utilization of funds, so they have to scale down their afforestation. They cannot able to do it at the full swing because of lack of funds, which has to be released. Okay, they so funding is one important. So we will study the three things. There are three gaps which has been mentioned in the article. Two of them we've already mentioned, and still we are going to uh, discuss it again. The community participation. Okay, so the first of all is community participation. You have to include people. You have to uh, integrate the local communities in order to make it successful. We have some examples here. Himachal Pradesh launched carbon credit program for greener forest. Okay, then Uttar Pradesh 35 crore saplings in new financing model. Chhattisgarh involved tribal community in afforestation via joint forest management communities. Tamil Nadu doubled their mangrove cover. So these countries have, these states have done well by integrating the community, local community, and uh, aligning the process and aligning the mission with the mm, growth and the livelihood of that community will help it uh, perform better. Okay, so the second thing is ecological design, and third is financing. Okay, so finance, we have discussed that the lack of funding, which uh, we faced. Campa already have much money with it, but very less money has been dispersed in order to utilize for this particular mission. So that is one big issue, and ecological design is also one issue. How ecological design is issue? Afforestation ignores local communities and promote monoculture like eucalyptus and acacia, as we have discussed in earlier. Okay, and that harm the biodiversity. It harms the biodiversity. Okay, so why it is not this alien species, as we have said, alien species, and it is invasive also. Okay, alien species are invasive also, very much invasive also. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to call for native species and site specific plantation. For example, we have set the example of Mahua plantation in Odisha. In that way you should be doing. Then way forward. Now way forward, move beyond planting more trees to smarter, ecologically sound restoration. Okay, not like planting more trees and increasing the tree cover is not enough. We have understand it through the study of IIT Kharagpur. So we have to move to a smarter, ecologically sound restoration project. Okay, then focus on participatory planning, adaptive management, and science-based targets. Okay? Then India's success depends on collaboration between government, civil society, and research institutions. India has been doing this for quite some decades, and now it should be the basis of our future movement for the Green India mission also. Okay, so there is quotations which we can use in our answers or essays. That afforestation story has long wrestled with three stubborn gaps: community participation, ecological design, and finance. One more quote which we can use is: forests is not merely an environment story, they are the future capital. Okay, so these are the three important articles which we have discussed today from the Hindu newspaper. We will be discussing, we will be uh, un- understanding all these aspects. We have to read it and uh, uh, club it with questions which okay, so the issue, understand the issue, find the solution, and put on the way forward. In that way, we can arrange things and also attempt an answer for these questions. Okay, so I'm for today the news analysis for 5th of November. This is Vinu signing off on behalf of Ananta IAS Academy. Thank you so much